So I'm expecting a big move in both stocks and crypto in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to go ahead and tell you why I think that, what you need to watch out for and how to be early, as well as why is the stock market in Bitcoin. We'll go ahead and take a look at a couple charts, what you want to be aware of as we go in the next coming weeks to months. Bitcoin has been nothing but boring. That's all it's been right now. It's been sideways chop ever since the drop back in mid to early February. It dropped over 50% from the all-time high. If you want to go ahead and zoom out here on the chart, as you can see, but we had a dramatic drop in Bitcoin, a lot of selling off. We have since bounced, and now we're just going sideways. Now, if you go ahead and look, we could zoom out a little bit at this white line, give or take, this is around $70,000 to $73,000. Let's see here. If I were to move it up a little bit more, that would be around 74. But really, this zone is what I want to mark out for you guys. And so this specific zone right here is really a structural area that Bitcoin both acted as rejection and support, right? So we did see that over the past year, this area of 72 to 74,000, which I think is very important. Now we have since broke below it and we're going sideways. And so again, I do believe if you're looking for market structure to break, it's this area right here for Bitcoin. Retest this area and then potentially come back up to around $87,000 to $90,000, and that is going to be where we will actually see whether or not Bitcoin can make higher lows on this overall trend. But a big key here for you guys to know, those of you who are trading and watching Bitcoin, if Bitcoin comes back up to this 74,000 area, it rejects off that, I do expect it to go lower, down sub $60,000. But just understand that 74,000 is currently the place I'm watching to see if Bitcoin rejects that or not. Upper 80Ks to 90K. But so far, so good here. We've stopped the bleeding, at least on the lower time frames. But Bitcoin, if you want to go ahead and zoom out, Bitcoin's basically back at its all-time highs, back at 2021. And so we're back there, and a lot of people are talking about how altcoins are making lows and how they're equal to back in 2021, 2022 days. Yeah, Bitcoin's no different. Bitcoin is down as well. It's a high-risk asset, and so as volatile as it is, great overall trend over the years for huge upside, as we know, asymmetric trade, but at the same time, as volatile as it is going up, it's, as we say, stair step up and elevator down. We saw it back in the last cycle, but the good news is a lot of the bleeding is over. It is closer to its bottom than to a top, meaning that whenever price of any assets closer to a bottom is a good time to buy. So a lot of people right now are dollar cost averaging around 60K. I think that this could potentially go lower. We'll go ahead and talk about what's coming up in the next couple of weeks as far as a look a month out. But I don't think that this goes too much lower in the 50Ks. I'm not super bearish right now on the weekly overall. We're below the EMA 200 on the weekly. So again, we've bled quite a bit over the past couple months. I do expect a bounce, and we have to see how the stock market plays out because there's some big things going on right now. So one in particular, we have this coming Friday in February 20th, we have the options expiration date for U.S. equity index and ETF options. And so that's always a big deal. That's because specifically we know that the stock market tends to be volatile. Well, it tends to really stay in the same area because for the fact that a lot of people who have these options, they tend to hedge against those options. So you see volatility go down a little bit. But as that ends here in the next coming week or so, we can potentially see some more volatility in the market. Now, whether we go up or down, right, I think that's going to really rely on other things, specifically earnings. But as we've seen, the SPX has just been going sideways since December, okay? So we can't break above 7,000. We can't seem to break below this daily 100 EMA, which is currently at around 6,700, right, on the stock market. So really going sideways. How does this impact your crypto and Bitcoin holdings? In the next week, we're going to see the price break lower And of course, along with that, Bitcoin will break down with it. But if we can finally see some good news, which I'll talk about here in a second, what that good news is, potentially we'll see, of course, with the stock market finally breaking into new all-time highs and potentially pulling Bitcoin back up with it to those areas of up above 80K, at least above 75K that I mentioned earlier. So, what are we watching this week? Well, we do know, again, big macro headlines with tariffs, right? That's going to be an important key indicator as well. One of the biggest things is going to come on February 25th, and that has to do with this stock right here that currently as well has been going sideways since August of 2025, and that is Nvidia. And right now, there's a lot of people calling for some potential big earnings here in the coming weeks. And so, again, people are speculating as high as $250 to $400 Nvidia coming up with the upcoming earnings report, because we know that Nvidia is a major player in AI, and right now AI assets are leading the market. They are quite euphoric at the moment. We even had a 50% candle on the Raspberry Pi holdings today with the London Stock Exchange. 50% candle, up from down below 300 up to hit as well as over 430. And so that, again, has rumors with AI agents utilizing the Raspberry Pi. And so as far as that goes, just understand that that is a big reason why there was a massive candle. For me personally, I'm one to kind of hold off on that. I'm not one to chase a 50% candle. Again, a lot of times this is due from speculation, but I'm just showing you how bullish overall AI is. And so we've seen that, knowing that Nvidia is clearly ahead, above and beyond most other companies, especially in the stock market, in the major top 7 there. It tends to lead with AI. And if there are big earnings, you can expect some fireworks to happen. Of course, we've had previous earnings before, prices move up as over 20%. But of course, a lot of people right now are saying, hey, up to 250, it's around 35% from its current standings right here. But that is going to likely shake up the market. So just understand this, with the options expiration coming, with the Nvidia earnings also coming up, you're going to have to expect that there's going to be some volatility in the market. Whether that's good or bad, we've yet to see, but I can tell you that this current level right here, if we go ahead and just mark this out, these current levels, they're not going to hold much longer. The stock market's only going to go sideways for so long, and we're going to see some volatility, especially when it has to do with options expirations, Nvidia, and if we have any more headlines, macro headlines with the tariff and information. So just be aware of that. That is likely to shake the market, a big move coming here in the next 2 weeks for both stocks, which will also impact your Bitcoin and your crypto overall. Now, a lot of people are saying, what's going on with the market? It seems to be somewhat dead. Yes, the stock market is up, but it is sideways. Bitcoin's down. And I'll just go back and say it and show you guys that this is the FedNet liquidity, right? Overall, what we see here, these lower numbers, right, is the liquidity, overall liquidity being low compared to last time we had quantitative easing. Back in 2021, 2022, when it ended, we had that quantitative easing, right? More money, more liquidity. Since then, it's actually been on somewhat of a downtrend, and we do know that whenever we have lower liquidity, less money overall in the market, less money to buy those risk-on assets, you're going to see risk-on assets suffer overall. We did recently see a drop here over the past year. Coin did top out, and since then it's been down. And so again, we want to continue to see something happen in this area when it comes to the liquidity. Now, a lot of people are talking about when it comes to cutting rates and how that's going to stimulate the economy. Now, that's not necessarily true. Just because the Fed cuts rates doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have a stimulus in the economy. And if I go ahead and take a look, this is for the upcoming next FOMC, when we talk about rate cuts with the Federal Reserve, we have a 92% chance right now with the Fed Watch tool of staying the same, of not cutting rates whatsoever. And you can even see it down here where we're currently at 350 to 375 and a 92% chance. Okay, and that has not changed very much. We did have around 80%. It's actually moved up. And so, again, is inflation going to continue to stay sticky? What about the jobs data? Jobs data actually came out better than what we thought it was. Of course, we had a revision, but that doesn't even matter. I mean, again, we did not have bad or harsh jobs. And of course, with the Federal Reserve, they already said here in the last year that we're going to look more at the job data, even more than CPI. And the job data wasn't horrible. Therefore, after that came out, we've seen that the chances and probabilities of cutting rates is lower. Now, what does that impact you? Again, the more cutting of rates, the cheaper money is. The cheaper money is, the more people who want to buy Bitcoin and risk on assets. Now, again, just because they cut rates doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be stimulation in the market. That there needs to be good earning reports, and that's why Nvidia matters. That's why Nvidia and their earnings. And again, to stimulate a little bit more in the markets, we want to see better earnings. We want to see that show up here in the next couple of weeks, okay? And so to continue to see better inflation data, to see high earnings, and hopefully we can start to see as money gets cheaper, more liquidity come into the market. But as I said, this is quite low for the Fed net liquidity overall, what it has been from the past year. And that's what you want to continue to watch out for. We want to continue to keep our eyes on this overall global liquidity in the market from the Fed and to see what changes are going to be made with that. So that is going to be a key player in the future. Now, with that said, some big news for me. I want to go ahead and share with you something that I've been working on with a friend. And this is something that we think can change trading and investing and make it easier and better for you. And really what we have right here as our headline is to make smarter money moves, everything you need to track, trade, and learn, built to make investing faster and easier for you. And what we've built here, this is going to be a beta, and this is going to be early access, and you're going to be able to try this out for totally free. But we've seen so much be built over time in a lot of AI stuff and a lot of these dashboards, and a lot of stuff just isn't actionable. A lot of stuff doesn't make trading easier. Whether you're an investor, whether you're a trader, we want to make it easier for you. We want to make it to where you understand the market's easier and more simplified. You don't need to be a pro trader. Capra is going to be, I think, a game changer when it comes to actionable, affordable information that everybody can access, and especially when it comes around trading and when it comes around markets in general, whether you're into stocks or whether you're into Bitcoin or whether you're into altcoin. And so these are just a few things that it can do. I'm not going to get too far into this, but it's really cool that we've built in screenshot analysis of charts, portfolios, trade setups, chart analysis that can break down a trade planner for long and short. A narrative tracker involves skill builders, whether you want to continue to work on risk management, technical analysis. We can actually go in here and break these down to make you a better, smarter trader and make it easier. So if you're putting in and you want to learn about risk management, we put that in, and it, of course, created a breakdown, a colorful chart that really explains a beginner's complete framework for risk management to make you a better trader and investor overall. And this is just one thing that came out of Capra recently. I just took a screenshot of it. But I think a really cool tool as well is like the market pulse, because you can actually look at a fear and greed index and you really don't know what that's saying. A fear index of 5 is super low, right? It's a very high fear. But what does that mean? Well, what Capra can do is actually take what's going on right now and break it down for you as far as the markets. It can actually take a look and see what's going on, and then it can start to break down fear and risk and talk to you about how that actually impacts the trading and investing right now. So a lot of cool stuff, not just with crypto, but with stocks also, especially when it comes to AI and the advancement of AI. That's where there's going to be a lot of movement in the future when it comes to the market. So as a crypto trader, as a stock trader, I also want to understand what the market's doing in both stocks, crypto, as well as AI. And this can actually break things down for you. Easy, up-to-date information. And I really love it. I think it's a fantastic tool overall. Position size calculator, and then what if simulator. Again, giving this a scenario to where this works with you to discuss bear markets, rate hikes, bull runs, and what if simulator to better prepare you to be a better investor and trader in real time. So these are just a few things that we've built with Capra. Explore all kinds of technical analysis. You can explore chart patterns. You can explore more investing things with your portfolio overall with Capra, a market overview, some automation, trade journaling as well, and really breaking down your portfolio. So a lot of cool stuff that's actionable, that's going to help you with the markets, not just any charts of stable coins, but things that are going to actually be a big benefit that we think is going to be a game changer. So we've been working on Capra. You can actually see Capra here over on X or Twitter. Again, make smarter money moves, advanced portfolio intelligence in your pocket, and you go ahead and follow Capra. If you want to be a part of the beta and to try it out and give feedback, you're certainly welcome to do so. You just go down to trycapra.com and you can actually put in your email address and get early access. And again, you're going to be able to access the tool, to be early on it, to look into it. And again, we want to make this to where everybody can utilize this to make smarter money moves and to make trading and investing easier. But overall, some big moves ahead when it comes to crypto, Bitcoin, and stocks, because we do know that the options expiration is coming here in the next week, as well as the Nvidia earnings here in the next week as well. Will the stock market finally break out of this to the upside, carrying along Bitcoin with it so that we can retest the 75K and hopefully make it up to the 90K area? And with that said, that's just a great opportunity. We're seeing strength in the market overall to help carry Bitcoin, to get people excited overall when it comes to that, to get back on risk on assets. This could be a fantastic trade, because anytime Bitcoin makes it down to its previous all-time high, it tends to do pretty well in the coming weeks to months, okay? So that's just my market update right now. What you want to watch out for, again, what we're watching out for, not only for this week and next week, but for months coming up with the global net liquidity. Okay, guys, so with that said, that's it for me. You guys continue to keep your eyes out on the market. I'll give more updates here in the coming days to week. You guys trade safe. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one.